if you right-click someone's name, check out their profile, and you see the wings and the star and the diamond, then you know you're going to be playing against a very competent player.
Very true, and you're in here, and it looks like we are going to be going into our next match between Han, who is our fearless leader of these tournaments, always organizing everything so well, so thanks to him, as always. The orange Protoss against Costello, the yellow Terran. It's going to be on Tal'Darim Altar, one of the most recent additions to the ladder map pool, as of the most recent patch.
Yeah, I actually haven't played too many games on this map yet. Brad calls this the Tron map because the decals in the middle of the map.
Yeah.
It is a relatively big map with a pretty accessible third, and I think this is the map with the rocks in your front of your base that you destroy.
I don't believe so. I'm trying. I know what map you're referring to. I just don't get the other name off the top of my head, but this is not that. Or perhaps in another version of Tal'Darim, but this is the ladder version that's been added to the ladders, and so I'm going to put the camera on you real quick, Norm, and I'll be back in just a moment.
Sure thing. So right now we have Costello as the yellow Terran over in the top right 2 o'clock position. Han Harris on the 5 o'clock position, 4 or 5 o'clock position. Over to Protoss, drops down the pylon, and sends out a scouting probe immediately with this technically a 2v2 map. He needs to scout as soon as possible. And not too much going on at the start. Let's see, with these positions. PVT, one of my strategies, typically, got to get that scouting probe out relatively early, see what addition's going to pop up on that barracks, so you know whether they're going to try to go for a tech lab or the reactor, and then react from there. Typically what I like to do is drop down one gateway, go cyber, and then go for maybe a robo facility, try to get the pumped observer out as soon as possible, scout Terran, see if they're going to go Stargate or Marauders. If they're going Marauders, then chrono boost a ton of mortals out and try to stop them when they expand to the natural, because Terran does like to build that command center in their base and move to the natural. Or if they're doing a one base all in, then retreat back to my base and pump a couple of sentries out, defend. Do see Gateway almost 60% done over on Harris's side. Does plop down a simulator pretty timely, and second column going up again, very standard. See what he's spotted right now. So Harris has scouted Costello's base. Has a probe in there just circling around right now. Does actually have a second, or Costello actually has not scouted Harris's base, actually going in the counterclockwise position. His SCV will find Harris's base very, very slowly, and Harris dropping down cybernetics core right now. His probe staying alive, and not sure if he's going to the Zelnava Tower. He will be going to the Zelnava Tower. Very smart of him to stay there. Probably going to come back in to scout one more time to see what addition is added to that barracks, and it actually is going to be a tech lab. So it could be from Marauders, or it could be so you can pop a starport down later. We do see a second barracks, so probably Marauders. And Costello finally in Han's base. Han popping out one Zealot right now. Interesting decision. A lot of people pop up the Zealot first, or wait, save the money, go for a Stalker. Stalker can be enough to hold off your ramp or your entrance against Terran for quite a while. Micro against Marines, kiting them. And then popping out a sentry to block against Marauders. Costello actually coming in again. See, if you pop out that Zealot first, it's going to have a hard time chasing that scouting worker. And there goes the Stalker coming out right now. Han needs to target down Costello's SCV, actually going for the front, letting the SCV staying alive just a little bit too long. He actually cannot pop down his third building to show, because he doesn't want to reveal his tech. And actually, does Han even see Costello's SCV? Does not see him. Oh my goodness, what a great position.
Look at that. I'm back.
Yeah, hitting right there.
There he goes.
Han actually does not see it still. Oh, this could not be good. 2 Stalkers actually popping out right now. And, he pops down a Nexus with only 1 gateway. No Robo, no second gateway, and pumping out 3 Stalkers, 1 Zealot, and an SCV. If it walks out, it will see that second Nexus, and it will be a great timing opportunity. Actually, Costello's in a perfect position to attack Han with a couple Marauders. If he's researching Stim, he's actually researching Stim right now, taking 170 seconds up from 140, actually, from after a 1.3 patch. But I'm a little afraid for Han.
Yeah, absolutely. That stim pack is going to take a little bit longer, but at the same time, that expansion that Han threw down is going to put him at a disadvantage here because that's just a large number of Marines and Marauders. And so I don't think the Terran's going to feel the sting of that delayed stim too much because I don't think Han, is going to be ready for it in time.
No.
He did just throw 3 more gateways down, but he's going to need to kind of cross his fingers and hope that his Terran opponent just plays a little passive here. And looks like maybe he is, as Costello now throwing down a command center of his own at the natural.
Yeah, his SCV did get destroyed. I don't know if the SCV. See if he actually spot. He does not see the fast expand from Protoss. So very lucky for Han. Actually, all Costello sees is the one gateway and the Nexus and a couple pylons. But Han did take quite a big risk waiting so long to pop down additional gateways. No robo, and actually didn't do much scouting himself after the fact. If Costello had gone for Banshees, Cloak Banshees, Han would be in big trouble right now.
Agreed. Han does have that Zelnaga tower, which is nice. Would like to see him put a unit or a pylon or something kind of a little bit closer to the ramp of the Terran opponent just so he can get that much more insight. And of course, that would give him a little bit more information about what his opponent's composition is right now, as he hasn't even seen anything. A third barracks is down now for Costello, and I'm not sure if it's going to be the smartest play. If Costello ends up not attacking, Stimpack just finished. If he ends up not attacking with this army that he's built up, he's really kind of wasted a lot of time.
He's going to fall behind, yeah. I mean, units that don't do anything, but you just have them either used for defense, you build them for defense if you know your opponent's going to rush you or attack you, or you got to do something. Do some harass, poke a little bit, scout, take out the Zelnaga tower. Right now, both players playing relatively passively. Han actually having a popping robo down, and will get the observer out. And once he sees where Costello is at right now, he's going to feel very safe. Has many opportunities. Probably going to go for some Colossi, pop out a second robo and a robo bay. And right now, enough sentries to hold off any kind of attack. And with that, Zelnaga held very, very safe.
Yeah, I think that's the mistake made here by Costello, really looking like a strong opening. But when you open with 2 to 3 barracks like that and crank out that huge army of Marauders and Marines and get that early stim pack, you need to. If that's what that is. There's no strict definition, but that's what a timing push would have been to move in. Oh, and a nice job by Costello. He spots the observer and actually scans and snipes the observer. So denies the little bit of information from Han, but he did have to fly that observer right over the expansion, so he does know his opponent has expanded. And so Han will probably start just pumping more probes and start macroing up some as well.
Yeah, I mean, kind of unfortunate. Of course, with the observer, you always want to scout the army first, then see the tech. And actually, Han has no idea the factory is down. There's a reactor in the factory, and a starport actually is just being started. So probably my bet is going to be a ton of medevacs, and Costello trying to go for a 2-base timing with just tons of medevacs, Marauders, and Marines, MMM.
Meanwhile, Twilight Council going down from Han, again. No Robo Bay, as far as I can tell, so maybe not going right to Colossus, perhaps Blink, and...
Blink would be great, and you know what? He would if he's not going to Colossus, he needs to actually pump out a few more Immortals to take out the Marauders. He knows there are a ton of Marauders, and without Colossus, that's really... His army is actually going to be pretty weak with Stim on Costello's side and combat shields on those Marines. So we do see Twilight Council finished, and is that a second forge or just the first forge? Like, first forge also being popped down, and chrono boosting legs, actually. Interesting decision by Han.
Yeah, the only thing I can imagine is charge with this new patched upgrade. They're guaranteed to hit if they start charging, and this could be to counter the concussive shell of the Marauders. Trying to rush up to those Marauders and keep them from doing that slowdown ability. So we'll need to see some more Zealots from Han if he's in fact doing that. He's only got about 5 Zealots right now, so that charge, going to need more Zealots to make that effective. And the Templar Archive's coming down now, so Han being a little risky here, in my opinion.
Wow.
With
1.3.
Testing the waters here of the viability of High Templars.
Han does have Observer actually now seeing the edge of Costello's army. He needs to move Observer. He does see that 3 barracks actually are being just built. So this is actually definitely 100% a 2-base timing push. The Observer needs to go in, check out what the starport has, just so he knows it's a reactor, and he doesn't have to go for waste any money on photon cannons for Cloak Banshees. But as we see Tech Labs and actually, is it all Tech Labs? All Tech Labs over on these extra barracks. So, a ton of Marauders, huge Marauder army, a ton of medevacs. I'm actually feeling very afraid for Han right now, because with his 1 High Templar out and Sidestorm not researched yet, there could be an opportunity here for Costello to just swarm him and bum rush him.
Yeah, so how would you handle the situation, Norm, when you see such a heavy Marauder army? What would you be doing as a Protoss player right now, as we see Harris getting Storm?
I would have not have gone Storm because that just takes too long. I think with this timing push, I mean, you had to plop down the Templar Archives, research Psionic Storm. There's no amulet anymore, so I guess a little bit less. He needs more gateways down right now. I think he's still stuck on 4 gateways on 2 base. You need 6 gateways on 2 base at least. And if you're just going to do 2 base, you need more than that. He is doing the right researches over on his forge. He does have weapon and then armor. I would have gone for armor first, just so much more useful against those Marines. And he needs blink. He needs to be able to micro his way out of this. He does have a couple of immortals out, which is going to be very essential. Those immortals are going to be targeted down immediately.
Yeah, that's the problem here, and I think we might be seeing Harris wishing he had Kydarian Amulet at some point here, as he's got about 4 High Templars right now. Storm has finished, so he's going to have enough to do some Storms should a push come, but he might wish he could have some High Templars that could warp in and immediately be able to do Storms, as it looks like the push is coming. Costello is taking a 3rd base, and as good.
That is a great idea. Yeah.
Taking a 3rd while attacking.
Taking a 3rd while attacking is the right thing to do. He does have 2 Vikings with his army, just in case there are Colossi out, and also he needs the sight. And the Vikings actually going around the back of the base. Splitting Han's army up. Possibly those Vikings are going to land and attack the probes. A really, really smart move. And his army's going to come to the front, stems up the front. Those Zealots hitting. He needs to block off the army. Han needs to back up, take the high ground. Oh, this is actually not very good for Han. Those Zealots actually being kited very well. Marauders skimming back and medevacs healing them. These armies are really close. There goes an excellent size storm. One storm goes off right in the middle of Han's army, but those medevacs are healing. Lots of Marauders in the orange right now. Han needs to reposition back, move back, spawn more sentries, more stalkers, put those immortals up in front to take out the Marauders, and then he can hold it off. He does have 3 gateways in the back right now that are not warp gates. Good scan by Costello to see the high ground and block up any sentries. Another good, perfect Side Storm. 2 storms going down. Very impressed with Han's Side Storm. I think he put 3 Side Storms total, and they have all hit perfectly.
Yeah, excellent storms. And now, actually, Costello pulling back needs his medevacs taking some damage as well. Needs those medevacs to heal up those troops.
Yeah, no units in the green right now. This is a really good opportunity with those 3 additional gateways for Han to actually do his own two base timing push and push ahead, take it that Zelnaga, and before Costello can reinforce. He is reinforcing with a couple Marauders and Marines right now.
Yeah, and a couple of sentries are in the mix for Han here, and they have a lot of energy. Would like to see some Guardian Shields or Force Fields come into play there. I think he's trying to micro with the High Templars so much that he's forgetting about, or just having a hard time dealing with the sentries. Needs to get some Guardian Shields and Force Fields out next time they engage, just to give himself that bit of an advantage. Absolutely.
He needs to... I mean, right now, sentries can do no wrong. He has so many Zealots at perfect force fields. Blocking off those Marauders will make these Zealots so much more effective. Guardian Shields also super effective. I think he needs at least 3 or 4 more sentries. If you look at the great Protoss players in the GSL, Huck, MC, they have perfect sentry force field placement because they have so many sentries and so much energy building up on them.
Yeah, very true, and he's got about 3 sentries, 4 sentries now. The High Templar, though, a decent number of High Templar. Actually, 8 High Templar, it looks like. Here comes an engagement now. Moving up to the...
Oh, actually, there's a very bad position for Han. He's on the low ground. Good force field, actually.
Excellent force fields.
And a storm to add insult to injury. Those Marauders are going to go down very fast. I was a little worried because Han actually has 44 units, all of his army in one hotkey. He needs to put those High Templars and those Immortals on a separate hotkey so he can get those Immortals up in front. They won't be blocked. Perfect Side Storms yet again.
Nice
that
feedback.
Army, yeah, and Costello, that his army is pretty much down to nothing. We look at the army counter, 154 to 122. Han taking the Zelnaga Tower. He's expanding to a 3rd right now also. And he has a huge opportunity right now to attack before Costello gets too much in the resource lead. If you look at the income tabs, actually, Costello with 1,800 to 1,400. He does have the huge army advantage, but if he waits a little bit too longer, Costello could do a little bit of a transition. Still sticking to MMM for the most part, but he could be building up a good defense at home because he knows it's coming.
Absolutely, and looks like Harris maybe just waiting for that +2 weapon upgrade, just finishing in the next 15 seconds. So if that +2 weapon's finished, I would go ahead and move right in as you suggested, Norm, because this is going to be a perfect opportunity for Harris, or Han, to move in there. And there was some great force fields there at that Zelnaga Tower, and good feedback on the medevacs. Took out two medevacs with the feedback, and then just more great storms from Han. So really spot on with this High Templar.
Yep, and actually building 3 more gateways right now. He knows he's going to pump out a ton of units to be able to reinforce so quickly. He does have his third base up, and he actually should be transitioning all his drones, all his probes over. He has basically no minerals left at his home base, and he still doesn't have blink research. A little bit surprised there. He does have the